Well, half of 2024 is already in the books, which I guess that means we should probably look a little ahead to 2025 and some of the new coasters coming to the United States. And with new parks such as Mattel's Adventure Park in Glendale, Arizona, Circuit of the Americas, or Cota Land in Austin, Texas, and of course, Universal Studios' Epic Universe in Orlando, Florida, we are online for a pretty big 2025, and we can't forget about Jungle Expedition growing just a little bit bigger. So today we're going to look at the most influential coasters and the most important coasters for 2025. So let's start here, back at Mattel in Glendale. So these are the trains for Bone Shaker. It's going to be a family roller coaster, and it's going to be very similar to West Coaster that can be found at the Santa Monica Pier. Now, this ride is also a Chance Rides creation, and as I said, it is going to be similar to West Coaster, but from what I'm seeing, it is going to be a little bit bigger and a little bit longer. Which I would also assume means a little taller and a little faster, which, is good for Mattel, because after riding West Coaster, beautiful scenery, but it definitely needs a little bit more in the thrill department to be able to capture people's attention. But that being said, even for a family ride, I do not expect this one to disappoint at all. It should be a pretty great ride, and pretty much every Chance roller coaster product that I've ridden in the last decade has been good, reliable, and smooth. Really good features to have. Now, moving on, but staying in the same park for yet another Chance Rides creation. This is only the second ever Hyper GTX model that Chance Rides has been able to sell. And this one is called Twin Mill Racer, again at that Mattel Adventure Park. And the biggest difference between this and the previous version of this model that was sold is this, instead of featuring a lift hill, will feature launches and inversions. And man, I gotta tell you, I am super excited to ride this ride whenever this park does finally open to the public. It should be pretty incredible. And I say that because the first Hyper GTX that was ever built is, of course, Lightning Run at Kentucky Kingdom, a ride that is right at the cusp of the top 50 in America for me. Now, moving on to Circuit of the Americas, or Cota Land in Austin, Texas. These guys are getting a couple crazy rides as well. And the first one that I want to talk about is this Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. And this ride, called Palindrome, it's going to be a shuttle coaster. It's going to feature a forward and backwards experience with a max height, they say difference because it's using terrain, of 111 feet, and physically has 1,230 feet of track total, reaching top speeds of 51 miles per hour, and they say G's from 4.5 to -1. Totaling 4 inversions, this should be a banger. Potentially the best Gerstlauer in America when it opens. Then, in addition, as you see on the screen here, Cota Land is opening up this bad boy, which is, man, this is going to be incredible. Circuit Breaker, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new age Vekoma tilt coaster. So you see how this is done here. It does travel up a lift hill to go ahead and get to this little vertical turntable, if you will. And the ride experience on this thing looks completely out of bounds. Now, granted, we have not got to ride a modern thrill coaster from Vekoma in this country. Now, of course, there are people from this country that have went overseas and ridden them and said that they are absolutely outstanding. But much like myself, I highly doubt that many of you are going to be traveling overseas just to go ride Vekomas. Fortunately, we won't have to do that for a tilt coaster any longer. And for us here in the States, this is an enormous win. And it makes me even more excited to go and be able to ride Flash Vertical Velocity at Six Flags Great Adventure coming up here in the next few weeks. Now, moving on to possibly the coolest and most interesting story of 2025, SeaWorld San Antonio. Now, just this last year, they had opened Catapult Falls, which is a launched log flume, and really wicked. Now, for 2025, RCDB has shown a Zero force coaster. Now, I think it is important to mention that RCDB is also suggesting that this could be a two-track model like Mini Figure Speedway at Legoland Windsor. Fortunately, we do have this commercial from Legoland Windsor and can get a decent little idea as to what this ride does. Each side of the track features an 800-foot length, and one goes forward, one goes backwards, kind of shuttle coastery. You get the point. It does look like a fun ride, would be a good fit for the park. But I gotta be honest, I'm only seeing one colored track here, and if you're gonna have a racing coaster, you're gonna separate the two tracks with colors. There's no question about that. So I am gonna rule out this minifigure Speedway replica. And if you take a look at the Force 280, however, instead of 800 feet of track, it offers 920 feet of track, and just like Runaway Tram at Maury's Piers. However, I believe that SeaWorld San Antonio is going to be getting one of these, which is a Force 5 coaster from Legoland Malaysia, or at least this example is from Legoland Malaysia. And what sets this apart is it offers 1,499.3 feet of track. So significantly larger footprint. You do sacrifice about 150 riders per hour to have that longer layout, but hey, worth it in my opinion. But moving on to Universal, and let's talk Donkey Kong, baby. This thing is gonna be crazy. It's the very first Universal boom coaster for America, and essentially it makes you look like you are jumping the track. And it utilizes this technology in a couple different ways throughout the course of the layout. And from a spectator standpoint, watching this from off-ride, it's going to be incredible and probably just as crazy on-ride. Now, I think that when you're watching some of the POV footage opposed to the off-ride, I think it looks a little more wicked because obviously from your perspective as a rider, you're not going to be able to see that other control arm. So it's definitely going to add to some of the thrills and the excitement as you're riding it, because naturally your brain is going to want to tell you we should not be going over that track. It is broken. But yeah. Next, we're going to stay with Universal yet again. And this is one that I am pretty excited about. People are just writing this off as being the throwaway coaster of Epic Universe. But I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to shock people and it's going to blow some people away for being a quote-unquote family ride. Now, Mock Rides has really been becoming proficient in these spinning coasters. And they get a lot of acclaim for the extreme spinners, not necessarily the family spinners. But a ride like Sierra Sidewinder with a custom layout, with swing launches, with, I mean, a variety of other stuff that we really don't even fully know yet. But yeah, guys, this ride looks super, super cool. To have a forward and a backward section for this, I think it is really going to be a top quality addition to the park. And I mean, it's probably going to end up becoming the best family spinner. I can't envision, you know, one of the other basic layout models that feeling like this at all, really. So yeah, I'm hoping that the launches are going to at least be partially punchy. I hope they are not Slinky Dog Dash punchy, because that that would end up being a pretty big disappointment. But I feel confident so far. We're gonna stick with Universal for just a few more minutes, and we are going to talk about, well, Epic Universe's version of Hagrid's magical motorbike adventure. Or at least that's the way that I perceive this. It's another Intamin family multi-launch. I think you're probably gonna be closer to Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens Tampa than you are closer to Hagrid's itself. I just can't envision them spending anywhere near the amount of money on theming and animatronics and things of that nature. I can't see that being in the cards for that in particular ride. But I still think the ride is going to be awesome. And I hope that they go on a little tour of Intamin's greatest hits when it comes time to these types of family launch coasters. There are certain elements that play much better than others, especially some of the aggressive switchbacks. That is by far one of my favorite sections of Cheetah Hunt. I hope that there is something like that for this ride as well, or at least something that gives you that feel. And to watch the POV, it's difficult to know for certain until you actually get on and ride it. But I do expect this to be much better than people are anticipating it to be. And if it is, and they prove that they can make a version of Hagrid's that doesn't cost $975 million, maybe more parks in the mid-size range would do their best to try and afford something like this, or at least we hope. Moving on to the final stop here at Universal, and it is for the coup de grace of coasters at this new Epic Universe, and it is the second attraction being built by Mock Rides, well, the second roller coaster in the park being built by Mock Rides. Originally deemed to be called Starfall Racers due to some naming rights, they have changed the name, and this ride will be known moving forward as Stardust Racers. And, you know, tomato, doesn't really make much of a difference to me. I don't have a preference to either name one way or the other. Maybe you do. If you do, leave a comment down in the comment section below on your name preference. But guys, this ride looks absolutely incredible. And even though Hyperia has had some issues staying up and running, I gotta tell you, after hearing ride feedback, it makes me want to ride every new Mock. But moving finally to King's Dominion and back to that Jungle Expedition section of park. I think at this point it is pretty well known fact that, well, they're getting a launched wing coaster. And track has already shown up on site at King's Dominion. And our wonderful friends here at ML Designs have already updated to that green track on their little project here. So this gives you a tremendous idea as to what we're looking at here for the layout. This is going to be a pretty large, sprawling coaster. This is going to be a headlining attraction for the park for years and years to come. And if this is a bigger, better, faster, cooler version of Thunderbird, yeah, I'm in. Guys, we recently started an X channel at Clay PRC, And if you could follow us on there, we would be appreciative. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here. It is by far the best way to help support the channel and help the channel grow and battle against the YouTube algorithm. Please comment down below, guys. What do you think of the upcoming 2025 coasters here in America? What type of impact are they going to leave on the industry here? And what type of impact is it going to have on future editions for other parks? Let me know. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we'll see you out there.